So we reached the finals of the 3v3 League Season 5. This is the 5th division playing their playoff final. It's TAW, the Art of War, versus, it says Hopsy, but that's Bowyars back in town, playing the best of 5 playoff finals. So we've had a map draft first, with the picks and bans of the map pool for Season 5, all the standard maps for this season. First pick for the higher seeded players is Hideout. That's the home map. Then their home map of Hopsy's team follows with the Mediterranean, which I'm excited to see in the 2v3 competitive. I haven't seen that for a long while. Socotra gets banned, as does Nomad. And we have another ban from the host, which unfortunately is a mistake in the draft of my account. It should have been pick again and then banned down to the final map, but that's the way it was set up. So they've used the existing draft according to the rules. It's been tweaked after someone notified me this is not right. But yeah, Team Islands off the menu. Land Nomad gets picked by Bowyars back in town. Arabia for the Art of War. 4 legs is gone as well, and then we end up with the neutral starting map being Arena. And of course we have a zip draft as well for this best of 5. Starting with bans again, we have Good Jaros as the first ban for Ta. Britons for Hopsy's team, Arabia in the map list, so it makes sense to ban Britons for these open land maps. And then we have Cubans banned as well, and Vikings for Hopsy's team. And then the selection of sims we'll be looking more into, but since the first game is Arena, I would speculate, for example, that we'd have some decent options here. Ethiopians would be a good flank. Don't see too many obvious pockets here. Burgundians, perhaps. And Koreans setting up as a good flank as on Byzantines at the ultimate defensive civilization on flank, but Byzantines could be for Arena, could be for Hideout as well. As for Hopsy's side, we have lots of strong civilizations here. Bohemians, Poles, Sail Zappas, Arena favorites, of course. Khmer would be a very decent pocket. Teutons as well. Maybe we should expect Teuton's pocket for Hopsy's team. Teuton's pocket on Bengali's flank seems like a strong combo to me, and then on the other side you could have, for example, the Poles, I guess. But we don't want to waste all of the best civilization at once either, so let's just dive into the first game and have a look at what Arena brings us. Here we go. Oh, Boyar's back in town here, starting with the Bohemians on flank, with Friendly Sword on the flank side here. Bohemians, very strong late game options, especially with their Hufnitze, gunpowder options, fully almost upgraded arbalests, chemistry available from the Castle Age already, so gives them a head start to the gunpowder units in the Imperial Age, and strong monastery tech tree as well, and a unique technology in the Imperial Age. Having the monastery technologies and monks cost only food when it's researched. In the pocket we have Hopsy wins as the Poles. Great closed map civilization, with the folwark economy providing an instant boost on food once you complete the farms within the range of the folwark, which is the Poles mill that also supports 5 population. So you could actually delay your additional town centers as the Poles for a bit and just rely on folwark food economy, get a cast lab, research your unique technology for the cavalry, and start spamming out knights at a 60% gold discount. But also have a white tech tree. They have the unique unit of O-Book in the castle as well, which is melee infantry unit stripping enemy units of armor when attacking. That's surprisingly high pierce armor as well when fully upgraded in the Imperial Age. Moves fast, creates fast. No, moves relatively slowly actually, but creates fast. But the Poles usually going to rely on dirt cheap cavalry to carry the game and provide a raiding unit and a cheap but strong meat shield for teammates in front of their units' accommodation. Redstone with the Turks on flank here smells like a Castle Rock Janissaries to me, or alternatively a fast Imperial Age, but that's not that much of a team gameplay. We'll see how it plays out. On the other hand, we have Slaven with the Spanish as well, and that could be Conquistadors. Strong unit, especially if you are able to get up your castle forward. Spanish builders build faster. So you have an easy time completing your castle, and if you break through and get some Conquistadors inside your opponent's base early enough, they'll struggle to defend against that unless they're able to get some monks out or enough skirmishers to handle it. And skirmishers not really to play in team games anyway, because there's always going to be a pocket to help you with cavalry assistance, at least in most cases. In the pocket position, we have the Godfather, whom I played in a tournament once. I think that was Medieval Mayhem, perhaps. We had a fun best of 3 set in one of those medieval tournaments a while ago. So, not going with Goths for this one. I don't think he played Goths against me either. But yeah, gonna go for the Burgundians in the pocket here. Burgundians get access to the eco upgrades 1 age earlier at a discount as well. So double it. Axe already in. Horse collar also coming in before the very first farm has been placed for the Godfather, which already sets up for a strong economy leading into the feudal age, where the Godfather will probably be getting double it axe, Bauso and heavy plow nice and early as well for maximum benefit of the early eco upgrades. So Burgundians, Fusilier comes to mind, the unique unit. If you can get to a good mass of them, that's a hard unit to deal with due to their charge attacks. So when massed, they can be a really powerful unit. Also, although Burgundians don't get bloodlines, they have access to Cavalier in the Castle Age. So while the Cavalier has While the Castle Age Cavalier without bloodlines has the same hit points as a knight, the attack is another +2 for the Cavalier, so they'll win in fights with equal upgrades against knights in equal mass, I'd say. And then also a shortcut to Paladin in the Imperial Age, right? Because the stable has a 50% discount for the Burgundians as well. So your Paladin will be half the price, and you'll already have Cavalier from having researched it in the Castle Age in most cases. So Burgundians usually going to be the first cavalry civilization from pocket to get into the Paladin upgrades, even without bloodlines, which hurts long term. Over in Redstone, scouting the walls now on the pocket side, sees a little bunch of trees here that could be abused later on with an undercut or other things to find a sneak entry into the opponent's base. So we'll have to see. And finally we have Dega with the Koreans here on flank as expected. Koreans war wagons when massed, pretty deadly unit, so you want to apply some nice and early pressure. That's a 25 population up for Dega. So that could suggest a castle drop. We're not on stone yet, so must be some outer down here. Oh, bio-engineer. Nice. Thanks. Appreciate that. Cheers. So you can can see the feudal age is kicking in here. Everyone going up at very similar populations here. Turks player with only 1 on stone here, but also not up just yet. Probably going to go for the resources needed for the castle age click first, and then commit more villagers to stone to be able to get the castle up and start pushing on the Spanish side, perhaps. This forward, probably a bit worried about the Koreans' forward pushers. Places the buildings cleverly next to the walls on the top side here, so that it's going to be harder for any forward pressure to move right through the walls and deal damage inside of the base. They actually making it inside of Hopsy base here might not be an advantage here, especially if you lose the scout just like that, but has seen Hopsy on stone, unsurprisingly so, because the Poles collect gold through stone mining as well. As you can see, the castle age has been clicked by Hopsy here without even mining gold at all, because of the steady 33% gold trickle the Poles get from mining stone. Instant gold trickle from mining stone. It's a play on the Poles' salt mines apparently. That used to be, or maybe still is, a thing in Poland. That's a huge industry. Bulwark popping up for Hopsy here. Horse collar obviously in, so yielding more food from the farms means a larger percentage of food popping in once you complete the farms as well. Let's see, once that farm completes, that's a little food trickle for Hopsy. 2 fallworks now. Every time you reseed a farm around the fallwork circle, you're going to get a food trickle. Has Slaven managed to hide the castle drop happening here? No. Redstone will see the castle going up, the foundation going up. Funnily enough, has some archers out here, maybe expecting exactly this from the Spanish. So gone from some archers with the Turks as the Turks instead. That's a fascinating play, but there are only 5 builders forward for Slaven here. 2 archers. Is that going to be enough to deny this castle though? Slaven actually immediately pulls away. Even with the Spanish builders, will need to commit more builders to get that castle up. And I think he needs to commit, because now that castle is... Okay, never mind, he deletes it. Walks away with only 200 stone lost there, and will have to place the castle more defensively, maybe all the way inside the home base. So forward castle drop failing for Slaven there. No castle drop at all for the Poles here. Made a few archers, expecting that castle drop off the red player, and now placing an additional 2 town centers to extend the economy here. Boyars back in town, really focusing on the economy here, setting up for the late game combination. But you could say that about Ta as well, as some more town centers going up for the Korean player as well. Also not going for an instant forward castle here. And yeah, smart move by Teal indeed to expect that from the Spanish. Of course, with 10 builders, you don't stop that with 2 archers. but that's Slaven's mistake. A little bit of overconfidence. Also a little bit unlucky placement of the castle, because there was only 1 tile of that castle that was in fact visible when the drop happened. 4th TC for the Burgundians as well. Full boom mode here. Should have a more efficient boom than Hopsy 3 town centers here, especially looking at the economic upgrades. So actually Hopsy has better upgrades here eco-wise, but there's heavy plow for the Burgundians as well, and since they cost less, it's going to be less of a resource commitment overall by the Burgundians player. Now here comes the forward castle for the Turks, but Slaven now with the defensive castle here. So unless this is a fast imperialist play by Redstone, which it can't possibly be, that castle isn't really going to do much for the teal player. Other than, you know, force the potential conquistadors here to take a detour. Castle right on the wall for Obsidians. Sacrifices some pieces of wall to place the castle right here. Guess it doesn't really matter because it takes a lot longer to take down a castle than some pieces of wall, but also nice placement to cover both the gold and the stones forward here. If town center from the Burgundians. Huge boom from the Godfather here. Seems to have the food economy to back it as well. 28 farmers, 4,000 is producing, going to be a fifth one. 62 builders, 2 Hopsy wins, 45 because Hopsy's only on 2,000 hunters. Here, oh, that's that one. Oh, Godfather had a scout inside of a friendly sword base as well. Did he manage to gather some intelligence? He did see all 3,000 hunters. That's valuable intelligence. Bohemian's castle is up. Good defensive position for for friendly sword as well. Protecting the main gold and town center in front here, which also protects the stone to the side. Warriors, despite having more town centers overall, they are still behind in economy for the time being. That could be attributed to the Godfather's boom at base here as well, with 5 town centers total. You'd think it was Sicilians aiming for the first crusade, but it's just setting up for the later game, right? Should have a very steady resource income here. Won't really get that castle range to that one, but it's just firing away the walls. It's not even just laying an under layer of walls here. And that house is kind of the weak spot though, so that could be an issue. Turret's not really... Okay, it's trying to petard through. Suppose there could be an opening here if you petard through that layer and then the walls behind, but it's a bit of a surprise maneuver. Or maybe they'll just head right for the pocket now. There are a couple of Janissaries out here. I think at this point it might make more sense to hit the Godfather because he's not going to have a defensive castle lap yet. And then behind this we actually have Sladen stayed 1 town center, he's placed more farms, he's adapted the whole forward castle conquistadors idea of a play and gone for a much faster Imperial Age instead and going to batter down that Turkish castle easily with the first 2 trebuchets entering the Imperial Age in just about 50 seconds here. Ranges now for friendly sword, could be hand cannoneers, could be arbalists. Remains to be seen in the siege workshops. Excuse me. Chemistry all the way for Bohemians. You'll see still in the castle age, but that's the advantage of being Bohemians. You can research chemistry in the castle age, so you'll have it prepped for instant bombard cannons and potentially hand cannoneers production in the Imperial Age. I guess it's going to be arbalists though, because you'd be expecting Koreans, war wagons, or arbalists here. The range is up, so that's going to be the going to arbalist for the Koreans as well. Not really doing any particular damage here. Managed to get through 1 piece of wall here against the Spanish, but the Lancers, they're not going to break through here easily. With the defensive castle of the Godfather here as well, Ta are defending very well against the pressure going on. Warriors back in town, not really able to do any damage here so far. The KD is basically nothing at this point yet, closing in on 30 minutes of game time. But we have the Imperial Age in for the Bohemians, we have a forward castle on the Koreans, and the Koreans player is still in the castle age. It's got 1 minute to go for the Imperial Age. It's dropping more ranges, preparing for that marvelous play with the ballistics and chemistry already in the Imperial Age here, but is lacking the army numbers for now. With another castle going up here is matching the army production of the Burgundians player, and with bloodlines in, the Poles should be trading well against the Cavaliers, but once the Godfather gets to Paladin, that's going to be a different issue, because Poles don't get Paladin. They also don't get the last armor upgrade for obvious reasons. They're cheap cavalry units. Wait, what? How did they get here? Look at the trap of Dega over here. So the green units managed to get through the walls and then run all the way to the back of the base. But they are getting trapped by Dega, reacting rapidly to the aggression here. Godfather is on point here with the Cavaliers as well. It's moving in to snipe the bomber cannons now. They shouldn't stand a chance here, even with the hand cannoneers providing some extra or high damage options here. The bomber cannons will go down. They need the trebuchet as well. 2 more trebuchets in the back for friendly sword. The Godfather preparing to place a defensive castle in his teammate's space, while Dega is scrambling a lot of builders here to make sure that the defensive castle at home base stays alive, and now trebuchets built by the Godfather's cavalry armies here. Tall with a confident defense and an increasing military lead here now. Oh, more trebuchets gonna go down for friendly sword here. There's no stopping those from going down even underneath castle fire here. Builders scrambling in to repair castle, trying to focus fire against the Cavaliers, but it's just not gonna be enough that those trebuchets will be going down to the Burgundians cavalry here. Defensive castle at home base for Redstone now. That should delay any aggression against the Turks here. Healthy economy at work for at home base for Redstone as well. Now committing to some Hussars, as the Turks don't need to research anything to get to Hussar. They get instantly. That's one of their civilization bonuses. Paladin now in for the Godfather, whereas Hotswings still only has Knights, but they're about to become Cavalier in just a few minutes here. And how long will that castle stay up against a couple of Spanish trebuchets pushing here? There are 4 bomber guns somewhere here for Redstone, but one of them actually got sniped by... Oh, where's the last one? There's the last one. Okay, so they're trying to focus down the trebuchets here, but the Conquistadors getting dangerously close, getting 1, getting 2, getting 3 bomber guns there. Great value from the Conquistadors' Laban. Great pick off there, without losing a single trebuchet, and he's got Paladin's support from the Godfather over here as well. That defensive castle of the Turks is going to go down, and that means that the Turks' home base is at serious risk of getting raided to death once this castle goes down. Just break through the walls, and then what does Redstone do here? Redstone could, in theory, commit to heavy cavalry here, but not in practice. Just doesn't have that food gold set up for that. Top side, the Poles Cavaliers are trying to get some raids in here, but there are Paladins from the Godfather here as well. A great pocket performance from the young player. has helped Dega to stabilize against the pressure, push back the forward pressure from the Bohemians as well. The overall population looked incomparable. The Boyars are down to around half of the military population of Ta, which becomes an issue as the siege and conquistador push is just seconds away from pushing into Redstone's base here now. Still has another layer of weak buildings here to keep things away. Got the camels in production, but will need heavy cavalry as well. That's more than a minute away. Might just be too late for Redstone. Looks like we're preparing a halberdier addition from Dega as well. Koreans have amazing siege onagers as well with their unique technologies, so how siege onager could come into play here. The issue being that the Kurok needs all the Bohemians will be able to snipe onagers and siege onagers at the distance. Bohemians, halberdiers, I believe, would deal a little bit extra bonus damage to cavalry, but that's not going to be enough when there are twice the amount of paladins compared to the halberdiers. Trebuchets here pushing the production capabilities as well, so if the Trebs push the barracks here, that's further going to delay the production of friendly sword who pushes. Builds more barracks in the back here to make sure that halberdier production can continue. 12 stable production of Cavalier from Hopsmeans now, and remember it's 60% gold discount on these guys. Unless we're missing the unique technology here, which I can't believe is the case. There it is. Both Cavaliers try to get some kills in on the Conquistadors, hitting and running and being joined by the Paladins yet again here. Ta with a 60 military lead once again. While on the top side, Paladins are pushing as well trebuchets. At risk of going down here, but yeah, only one goes down for the time being. And now keeps going on to going up for the Koreans to manifest some map position up north. So maybe thinking long term about the trade route in the middle here, if need be for Ta here. Koreans instant upgrades into guard towers and keeps for their towers, so don't need to research anything for that. It's pretty powerful building to have instant access to when it gets to this stage in the game and you want some cover fire from units to hide underneath. That's going to be 3 keeps right next to each other, almost as powerful as having a castle here at this point, except keeps are more vulnerable to siege hits, but there aren't really enough siege units here for Boyars back in town to make a pose a significant threat to the towers going up for Dega over here. The south side again, the conquistadors inside of the Turks base now, no defenses here other than tower centers to seek refuge inside of the Godfathers and some hussars over as well. No bloodlines on those being Burgundians, but full upgrades in other than that. That might just be enough to cause some annoying trouble inside of Redstone's base here. Marvelous count closing in on 60 here for Dega. Ta now with 3 times the military of Boyars here. Boyars still with an economic lead, but how long is that going to last when you are far away from matching the military powers of the opposing side? Redstone survived the raids for now and is being joined by some old Hops's cavalry again here, but the Conquistadors not really elite yet, but Red seems to be committing to the Conquistadors here. Yeah, they're finding the poke points and dealing some proper damage to Redstone's armies here. They need to get in and push though, and not allow Redstone's economy to roam or to run freely here. Top side is a slow but efficient push. More towers going up here. Dega holding his own here, mostly destroyed by just a few paladins here. Most of the paladins should be committed down south against the Turks over here. Also losing some forward presence here with the tower and castle of Godfather at risk of going down here. Heavy cavalry for the Turks, but only 9 total of them so far, so that's not going to keep the paladins away. Hopsivins is also showing an admirable performance from Pocket side here, spreading the armies to help out on both sides. Now a castle down here to delay the push towards his own base as well. The Poles' economy arguably ahead of the Burgundians, but maybe to the point of overboom here with 145 villagers and only 34 military as the Godfather spams out the Tsar. Seems to be going a little bit low on gold, but obviously has lots of resources in the bank to pump out units still. Now taking the neutral gold in the middle of the map here, but that's about to be denied by Hopsivin's castle over here. Still no Hofnisse for the Bohemians, so not the strongest economy. Could be because of the Halberdier switch as well, which is a costable in terms of upgrades and the Halberdier upgrade. These towers need to go for bowguards to be able to push back on this side, so that's some great north-middle map positioning by Dega here. Or keeps going down closer to home base now, just anticipating the pushback with the overcloud numbers increasing in mass. Some markets all the way over here for time. White just inside of the base here. I guess they want the trade to run freely and they want to try and wall up the middle section in between the bases here. But for now this is not at all a safe trade route. It's still raidable until they can get the walls up all the way across the map, ideally. Armless numbers nearly halved since last time I checked up north here. We have some Koreans halberdiers at work here. They're lacking a lot of upgrades. The halberdier upgrade is basically the only thing in here. Elite Conquistador finally for red. Still hasn't set back the Turks' economy as much as they'd want to at this stage. On the other hand, Redstone is running very low on gold and will easily get this gold denied to enemy army pressure. So Turks without gold, that's a huge issue for the Turks. Burgundians cavalry pushing on both sides here. Only 100 villagers. That's had a great boom so far in the game. Still got resources in the bank. 2 vs 2 situation down here. The Conquistadors should be able to deal with the still low number of camels here. Redstone seems to struggle to be able to produce here. He's officially out of gold now. No gold miners whatsoever, as Ta have already started trading 7 and 5 trade units respectively for red and purple. That's going to show in their gold income soon, which means we'll see paladins back on the field from the Godfather and probably back on the marvelous production for purple as well. Good pushing on both sides here from Ta, I have to say. Poles, what's the gold situation here for Poles? We're on only getting gold from stone mining currently, and there's nearly enough stone for another castle for Hopsivins, but Hopsi needs to move out and find more gold to be able to make anything else than the Wing of the Tsar, which is still a decent trading unit at this stage in the game. But with the trade kicking in for the Art of War, the wing and Resars just won't cut it. Look at the number of conquistadors as well. 41 elite conquistadors and counting. Only 2 castles, but Slaven has preserved the army as well. It's a pretty convincing KD there in terms of positive negative. It's only a matter of time now until the Turks' base gets virtually obliterated here, unless the siege weapons can be dealt with. 2 Trebs still alive, not really trying to make an opening here though. But it's a good idea to trap the town centers down as well, because that eliminates your refuge point over here and allows the trades to more easily take out villagers as they need to move further into the base to garrison. Since Poles don't have the last armor for the Cavalier, they are going to hurt so much against the Arbalest, for the upgraded Arbalest of the Koreans as well. Just lacking some precious Pierce armor to withstand the ranged attack of the Arbalests. Resars left and right, that villager count is just going to diminish for Redstone. Look at the villagers lost, 105 villagers lost for Teal, and keeps losing them. Has done a great job at keeping the villagers numbers consistently high up until this point, but look at the numbers of keeps up on the top side. So it's going to be nearly impossible to push the Korean side here now with the Turks base lost. That's going to be the first game into the Art of War's hands. Taking a well-earned win on Arena here after defending the early aggression of the Boyars back in town. Well. So their range really showing their power in the statistics here. 246 to 116. Great economic approach by Boyars. You see that they kept up nicely. They seem to have brought in nearly as many resources, but we're struggling more to get the army numbers to match their opponents. We have to commend the Turks' early defense against the Spanish cast drop as well. Certainly sets Slaven back. More so than Redstone with the small archers investment. So right through the Spanish idea of a castle drop there. Right. So let's cross off the Thibs, Bohemians, Turks, Poles. Using that one against Indians, Koreans, and what was the last one again? Spanish. Nomad got banned in the map overview, so Spanish was going to be a go-to ban for that one. We'll show Ta winning arena here as well, which should lead us to Mediterranean or Land Nomad next. So I'm not sure which one they picked first. They don't have to pick in order, obviously. They just pick the home map. Step like 2. So game 2 is going to be on Mediterranean. So we'll see some naval fighting, most likely. So Mediterranean. Well, I haven't seen in team games for a long time. It's a disappointingly small middle area here with the waters, but it's still, as we zoom out, you can see there's still a lot of fish to be contested here. Roughly, or it's gonna be more than 6,000 food when we count the snappers as well. It's lots and lots of deep fish to be taken here. Probably about 15,000-20,000 food that you want to contest and commit to water to win. Mediterranean should be... I guess it depends on the map gen. Now, if this had been one team and this had been the other, you could easily say that you could wall off the side, but that's not the case. We have pocket here, Redstone as the Lithuanian's pocket here. Good pick for a hybrid map like this. Surprising it's gone right for the food first rather than place a lumber camp and commit the first 4 or 5 builders to wood, as is a known build order for Lithuanians on hybrid maps. If you go to the wood immediately, you'll still be able to keep up builder production because of your extra 100 food to start with. And then, since you're gathering wood earlier, you'll be able to get your dock up earlier as well and start producing your fishing ships earlier and get a nice early fish boom going. But that's not Red Soul's approach here. It's less strong than when Lithuanians started with 150 food, so maybe there's a reason for the approach here. Lithuanians still should be able to fight for water if they'd like to, if they have a good start. Or they could just rely on their opponents to hold the sides, win the water, and then just commit to mainly a land boom, as they also do well with their 100 food granted per new town center constructed. And get into some Lightis or Cavalier Paladin spam in the late game. Left hand side we have Hopsy wins with the Japanese here. Another great pick. Japanese fishing ships work faster. Their resource drop-off points cost 50 wood only, not 100. Makes it easier to get the first dock up, and your fishing ships as Japanese also have extra hit points and armor. Looks like we're going to see a dock drop already, and if that's the dock spot, I'm not going to be convinced by that, but I guess Hopsy is lacking some scouting. Would definitely benefit from docking either here or here with deep fish in mind. That's going to be a long travel for the first few fish already, unfortunately, so not going to, even with the faster working Japanese fishing ships, that's a dock that's much less efficient than it could have been if placed over here, for example, instead. Finally, we have a friendly sword with the Dravidians here, so they're going heavy for the naval approach. This is Boviar's Back in Bones home map as well, so I'm sure they have a plan for Mediterranean here. They want to claim that naval control. Maybe wall off the sides here. It's not that extensive of a wall. Could be done. You could wall here, here, and to the edge here, and you should be fine. If you start here, you'll force any enemy units around, and yeah, keep the left hand side. The top side here we see the purple already placing some walls. Yeah, so Dravidians 200 wood granted once you reach the next stage. Makes it easier to drop another dock, a third dock earlier than most of your opponents, or just a blacksmith so you can get to a very early fletching compared to your opponents if you're going for the galleys. Dravidians also got great ranged units with the arbalests, or crossbow, archer's crossbow arbalest. That would also be a potential play where the 200 wood benefits your civilization. Ooh, villager pick off for Hopsy there. Denies the walls. Much easier wall off on this side, by the way. But Hopsy will have none of it. Gets an unloomed villager and draws the first blood of the game against the Byzantine player here, who seems to have been struggling a little bit with this hybrid map. Looking at the start, 28 seconds of idle TC time. Dock just now producing the first fishing ship. Well, later than most of the others. Except for Slaven, who hasn't actually even dropped a dock yet. Does not want to drop dock at all. I see the barracks going up, so this could be a very fast, straight archers build for the Malay, which could catch the Dravidians player off guard and do some serious damage. We'll have to see all that. Friendly Sword also dropping the barracks, but that's easier for the Dravidians as they have that 200 wood boost once they reach the next stage. So that's Malay for Slaven is on the way up. Researches it 66% faster, now committing 5 villagers to gold, but not on fish at all, which is going to hurt in the early game economy compared to all the other players here for Slaven. In the pocket we have the Godfather again, playing as the Persians. 10, 15, 20% faster docks and town centers as we progress through the ages. Makes it easier for Persians to contest water. Not to mention that the docks and town centers have twice the hit points. So if we compare the docks of a generic civilization and Persians here, it's twice the hit points. Much harder to take out. Village is in for the Malay, which means the Boyars are probably expecting naval aggression here from the Malay, right? But they haven't really scouted any red dock, so all the more reason for Friendly Sword to keep an eye out here. Going for the infantry approach. That's playing right into the double ranges of Slaven, unfortunately. So this infantry opening shouldn't be a competition match, considering that Slaven is already producing the archers and has scouted the infantry moving their way. What do you have here? I got excited for a moment there because we got a sneak here, but Copsy is only got the scout on the other side of the walls here after the nice early fight, taking out the opponent's villager. Finds some neutral sheep, which is the which is common on Mediterranean as well. Actually, quite a few neutral sheep here, and he just leads them to the corner to make it harder for Ta to find them, to find that free food. Range for Friendly Sword as well now. Might actually need to commit to skirmishes here, seeing the ranges of Slaven, or seeing at least one of the ranges. Fire galleys it is for Friendly Sword, so going to play some naval aggression here for Boyars back in town. Might not be a bad idea. Get some free hits in on the Persians' galleys here, but the Persians' docks working 10% faster. I've also got one more dock than the Dravidians. Puts the Dravidians on the back foot here, unfortunately. Where Norway all at? Different division. That played better, Orsak. Maybe you will be in the playoff as well. Good job, Akkal-AOE. Ah, that's right, Dravidians get the job, Akkal-AOE. What's that command again? Love that one. Maybe we'll get to see them. Alright, there's two players playing for Walter for Ta. So they are playing for naval domination. We do have some galleys here for Hopsy wins as well, so there's actually two players from both teams playing for the naval situation here, but we are seen to be getting more value for the time being, I think, even though Friendly Sword is losing units. Ta has lost more fish, I think. Yeah, 4 eco units killed by Hopsy wins. Tar's still alive for Friendly Sword. Not a bad idea to try to move in on the pocket side, because that's going to catch the Godfather off guard. Won't really be able to enter the red base, I don't think. But also has other priorities at hand here with the archers nearly breaking through. And as said, only into some skirmish defense here. Castle Age in for Lithuanians here, so did manage to pull off a comfortable early Castle Age here. Redstone, even without the going straight to wood start. Has fire ships here and takes some serious responsibility for claiming the middle with 6 fire ships total. So up against Irion with the Byzantines faster firing fire galleys here, but that should be less of an issue with fire ships out and about now, because there's only one player in the Castle Age. That should be a huge advantage for Boyars fighting for the naval situation here. Takes out more fish, essentially taking out all of the fish now except for one from Irion here, so that's losing a lot of food income on water for Ta. Granted, the Boyars lost a few fish as well, but they replenished some of them or kept some of them alive, so they're still getting the benefit of fish from the water, and that should start showing the food overview here as well, that they'll be closer to kicking up to the next stage than their respective opponents. Huge chunk of archers here from the Malay now. Still no dock whatsoever for Slaven, so unconventional approach for Mediterranean here, but that's a dangerous army as well, forcing friendly sport to stonewall off at home base. But will it be enough to keep this army out? The woodline is going to be exposed no matter what, and that could mean a lot of villagers going down for blue here. It's not mining stone, so that's the only defensive tower they're going to have as well. But it's a good defensive tower considering the stone walls going up here and the town center is here and then the tower is there. Should keep most of the aggression from comfortably entering here with just a minimum of villagers garrison, though the archers could still move next to the town center and deal damage elsewhere, because now the stone and wood has been committed to the tower defense. Friendly sword losing a lot of resource income here due to this pressure, but the warriors backing down. They are winning the water, which is crucial in many ways for this map, because if you can wall off the land sides and control water, you'll be in a position to land and your opponents will not be, and you could fight your way back on land through landings if you're not able to push through the walls on land otherwise. Next Slaven is looking for another point of entry here, but another layer of palisade walls going up here. Friendly sword still not collecting stone, that's why he's making palisades most likely. This could be really bad for the blue player, because the archers don't need many more hits to punch through here, and it would seem that friendly sword is almost out of stone, so can't really rely on stone walls to keep the aggression out anymore. The cast stage for Ari re-on. Might just be able to get enough fire ships out with the upgrade to turn things around against Redstone Warrior. Let's have a look at the archers again. Quick walls for friendly sword, but being chased away by the archers. They need to break through another layer of walls here, though, to do some proper damage. Slaven still not a single eco kill with all this aggression. And we're in. Okay, that's 13 archers forcing friendly sword to relocate, but good reaction there. Pulls back towards the TC. Unfortunately, the TC won't be able to garrison all of the villagers, so this could mean villagers lost for the blue player. Cast stage right around the corner for Slaven as well, but it's going to be kicking in first for friendly sword, who hopefully has enough wood for a siege workshop. Does now, at least because of the Dravidian's bonus. So, like... Siege Workshop Mangonel needs to be the answer here. On the waters, the Byzantines' faster firing fire ships is reclaiming some of the waters here, but not enough to win it back. So Boyars still in a good position here. They have the eco lead, they have the military lead, although the land military lead is more convincing for Ta, but Hopsivitz is pushing in with crossbows on the Byzantine side as well, forcing the Byzantines to react on land, not exclusively able to focus on the naval fighting here. Yeah, looks like the Lithuanians' fire ship numbers is enough to fend off the Byzantines after all. How many docks for the Lithuanians? 3 docks for the both of them. Japanese still with a few galleys, but not really contributing that much. Great denial of a TC here by Hopsy as well. Great land performance by Hopsy, now moving further into the enemy territory, helping Boyars get a comfortable economic lead here. Now they're 20-25 villagers-ish ahead, and gets crucial buildings denied here as well. Ballistics is in, so Hopsy will hit more comfortably. There is a defensive mangonel here to be worried about, which Irion has brought over, but still, town center and stable stays unbuilt for now. Slaven also getting some value here. Hasn't really taken out, still hasn't taken out a single villager. That's incredible that Friendly Sword has been able to not lose a single villager to the mass amounts of crossbows here on Slaven. That might change, but for now, it's keeping the villagers alive. 46 villagers, yes, but that's just slightly behind Slaven here. Minimum of military to invest into here, and since that town center went up on the stone, the Slaven Friendly Sword has been collecting stone for a while, and we'll be able to get that defensive castle moving towards Slaven's side over here. Hopsy now all the way over on Slaven's side now, looking for blood and maybe forcing Slaven to build some of the crossbows back home to defend here as well. Lance is doing decent here. What's the situation on the cavalry? The Godfather, no defense upgrades on the lines, but I think he has the numbers to clean up Hopsy's armies. Sladen is pulling back just for the finishing blow, but while the crossbows will trade decently against the knights, from a cost-efficient perspective, the knights clean up the armies and save the Ark of War's side for the time being. They've suffered eco losses though. They're about 30 eco units behind. That's, excuse me, partly due to the fishing ships as well, which Boyars would be wise to invest more into at this point. Redstone, lots of wood in the bank, could easily commit to more fish now with only 4 fish out. Fishing ships. What's the relic situation? No relics collected for the time being for green, and doesn't look like they've scouted a lot of them either. They've got one here, one there. Okay, we've got 2 relics inside, so that could boost the Lithuanian cavalry quite a little bit. Still 1 dock left for the Byzantines, but it's going to be increasingly harder for Tau to get back into the game now with the naval situation completely in control for the Boyars back in town. Forward castle for Hopsy wins to push through here, still in the Castle Age of course, while Irion is going to the Imperial Age. Irion, however, doesn't have a castle yet. Seems to be planning to make one. But let's have a look at Hopsy's situation. Only missing the food now to get to the next stage as well. I think this castle ranges some of the gold miners over here as well. At least if you get to the Botkin, you should be able to maybe get some big offs here. Oh, defensive castle for Irion. 1 petard and we break through this house easily. I think Hopsy will just need to conserve the army mass now to wait for the Imperial Age and get that Arbalest upgrade in. There's virtually no land armies whatsoever for Irion, so that's obviously an advantage for Hopsy, as there won't be much army for Irion to defend any trebuchet still make in the early Imperial Age here. Scrambling up some stone walls, just further keeping the crossbows away here. And Hopsy now. 2 minutes to go for the Imperial Age. Risks losing the castle, especially with the heal advantage for Irion here. With the 2 minutes difference, but remains to be seen how that plays out. All of the Lithuanians cavalry now on the right hand side. Bad news for Slaven's crossbows if they decide to engage here. However, we have some Persian's Knights here as well with comparable upgrades. In fact, better upgrades. Doesn't look like Ta wants to make any attempt to get back on water here. So Boyars, golden opportunities to just ignore the walls and go for a surprise landing on this side, trying to find, or over here for example, and just roam around the Godfather's base for a surprise attack. That goes for Hopsywin's crossbows, soon to be armless armies as well. Just get a couple of transport ships with careening and land to ignore the walls rather than spending time trying to break through them. That's gonna catch your opponent off guard. Military situation is evening out, eco situation as well. Overall population almost dead even here, but Boyars about 15-20 more military. However, some of that is naval military, so realistically the land armies are very similar here. And with the earlier Imperial Age for Irion, certainly got the advantage in terms of taking out the castles. Looks like the second castle of Hopsy is going to complete earlier than the other Byzantine castle here, but then again the Byzantine castles have more hit points, so it's harder for the Japanese player to push here than it is for the Byzantines to hold and push back the castles. Indians, 2 relics now, should be trading very well against the only +1 attack cavalry from the Persians. Malay in the Imperial Age, but no Arbalest yet. Bracer is on the way. A good choke point though. I'm not sure if this is a great fight for Edsel. It's taking out a lot of cavalry here, and there's consistent cavalry production behind this. Yeah, 6 knights. The Godfather is losing all of the knights here before the cavalier upgrade can come in, because the Imperial Age is still 1.5 minutes away. This is disaster for the Persians player. So yes, of course, some of these Cavalier are going down to the crossbow masses of the Malay, but still no Arbalest either, so this is something from the gold situation for Slaven over here. Getting the gold denied by the raids over here, struggling to afford the Arbalest upgrade. Might want to sell some wood to get the gold needed to get that Arbalest upgrade. That's crucial at this point to keep the raids away. The only downside here is that the Lithuanian player has a long distance to travel from the stables to get the reinforcements here, but the Paladin now only 120 away, light years ahead of the Persians player in terms of unit upgrades and progression. Imperial Age just 15 seconds away from the Godfather now, but he barely has knights to upgrade. 4 stables production, yes, but that's the case for the Lithuanians as well, and there just are more Cavalier out on the field. So Arbalest still not in for Slaven. That's backfiring a lot here as Redstone dives in, and if he moves around the other group here, could actually get the surround on the crossbows. This is a fight you'll take any day, even if a bit of nice joining in here. It's not gonna make a difference. Lots of these crossbows are gonna go down, and this might just be the game-ending fight for Boyars back in town. They are looking strong on their home map of migration here. Paladin is in. 14 plus 4 attack, that's the 2 relics. And iron casting as well. And on the left hand side, Hopsywins is losing home ground, yes. But there's just all that more damage being dealt on the red side. Villagers going down left and right, almost down to 50 villagers now, Slaven, and doesn't really have a lot of places to escape. Has to go all the way to the back to do so. I'm losing basically everything here. It's twice the military from Boyars now. Boyars back in town, taking the second game. First home map. Let's have a look at the statistics. Good Lithuanian raids there, as we can see. Fantastic defense from Freddy's War as well. Lost some villagers in the end, but stayed with a 0 equal deaths for so long. So long. Great plan for the Boyars back in town here to claim the water nice and early and hold it, allowing for the free boom of the Lithuanians from pocket position. I would have wished to see more fish from, especially the Lithuanians, with them holding the water that early. That could have given an even earlier food boost for the Cavalier and Paladin upgrades, but still great performance on the first home map of the Boyars back in town, giving his Tavs first home map next. The Art of War picking their first home map. Let's have a look at the draft again, or the drafts. Mediterranean home map for Hopsy. That would be the Malay, the Persians, and the Byzantines losing that one, and the Dravidians, Lithuanians, and what was the last one? Again, Japanese winning the first home map for the Art of War. That should leave us with either Arabia or Hideout for Tau. We'll see what they go for first. I think their first pick was Hideout, so that might be what we see next, in which case I'd expect to see Gospel Yerids on flanks, perhaps. Maybe even Berber's Pocket. I think they're saving Magars. Nah, it could be Magars Pocket and then Franks for Arabia. As if Hideout, I'd expect Hindustanis or Khmer Pockets. And too sure about the flanks. Saracens. Given Teuton's also very good hideout civilization, but we'll see what comes next. This could be Arabia as well. Looks like Teuton's is going to be the hideout civil. Game 3 is Saudi Arabia. Okay, so we're going to Arabia first. We didn't get a lot of them right. Got Khmer and Ethiopians. That's about it. Let's see what they have in store for us for hideout. Sorry, Arabia, of course. Hideout is going to be the last home map of Boyars back in town. Or the Art of War. Other getting sleepy here. Redstone picking the Hun's Pocket, a classic for Arabia games. They have lots of viable options for the late game on Arabia. They have almost fully upgraded cavalry archers at a 20% discount. They also get a team bonus of 20% faster working stables, which benefits themselves as a pocket for Arabia. Getting the first few scouts out earlier could be a game changer. Open land map on Arabia, which generally focuses on cavalry and archers combos. Fully upgraded paladins for the Huns as well, but they're lacking big time in the siege department. They only get mangonels. They do get siege ram, but then yeah, they're missing a lot of siege weapons, so they'll have to rely on their teammates for that if it comes to a situation where that's needed. On the right side flank, we have Hopsibins with the Incas. Pretty decent flank. Could of course go tower rushing with them, as the towers cost less stone, or any stone building cost less stone for the Incas. This guy is apparently on a strike because he refuses to drop wood. I don't know who ordered this guy around, but he refuses to take them. And that's certainly a setback for Hopsibins. Let's see. Hopefully he'll notice it soon from the idle villager icon. Unless it bugs out, of course, which could also be an issue. Yeah, that's a lot of resources lost for Hopsy, unfortunately. Sets back the early first barracks quite a bit, perhaps. There we go. Yeah, let's put it to work. Oh, 2 wood though. I guess it's because the Incas house is probably more population, 10 population, so the Incas save a bit of wood, not needing to build as many houses. Quite convenient for the early game, so maybe you don't need that many wood that early. Top side we have friendly sword with the Khmer on flank. That's not something you see every day, so I wonder what the idea of Khmer is here. If you'd been in the pocket position, I would have said that friendly sword was going for a super fast castle, like a 21 plus 2 or straight 21 pop castle age approach here, because you don't need any buildings to click up as it were. But there is a mill here that's not quite completed, which again affects the efficiency, but yeah, spots that. Focusing heavily on food, but also too on wood. Could be a lot of scouts here from Boer back in town. And the Incas, 1 on gold. Looks more like an infantry opening to me. It's actually quite a distance to travel to the other side as well. Speaking of the other side, let's see what Tsao want to do here. There's Mayans on flank, pretty much a given for these open land maps. Mayans, longer lasting resources, cheaper archers as you advance through the ages. Eagle warriors if need be. Heavy food commitment for the purple player as well, maybe because it's missing a couple of pigs just out of sight there, but thanks to the longer lasting resources on the mines, that shouldn't be too much of a setback. Topside, Ethiopians just now going to gold, as Ethiopians get 100 gold, 100 food once they reach the next age. It's less of a concern to go while you're still in the Dark Age, or while you're ready to click up. So Arion is going for a 19 pop straight archers build here, quite commonly seen in team games. And could pay off well for the faster attacking Ethiopians archers as well. Finally, in the pocket we have that's dangerously close to the town center here. Let's see if Hops even survives it. Will he dance around to avoid a TC fire? Does save the eagle, okay. Good eagle micro there from Hopsivins. Yeah, finally, Magyar's pocket for the Godfather. Good choice. Going to hold up against the Huns, even if the Huns potentially gets the scouts out slightly earlier. Because of the faster production, the Magyars get instant melee attack upgrades without having to research them or pay for them. So that makes the opening scouts stronger for the Magyars until the opponent can get to the appropriate upgrades themselves. So both pockets are going to place their stables as soon as they can here. Slightly later stable for the Huns actually, because of the slightly higher idle towns into time as well. But the faster production should compensate a bit for that. We're playing room for the range now. Does not need a barracks just now. Going to gold, arguably a bit late for the archers production here. But we'll see if it works out. Gets 1 archer out. No blacksmith to be seen yet, which means that fletching will be somewhat late as well. Makes the first few archers extra vulnerable to enemy scouts. So Vega has adapted to the current meta for team games here, skipped the mill, rather going for pushing hunt and horse and sheep and whatnot to get to a faster feudal and straight into double ranges. And the blacksmith. That's just mines eco for you. They can do these things with their longer lasting resources. No particular aggression to be seen just yet, and Hopsy wins. Better safe than sorry already starts stonewalling off here. Securing the south side of the map. Looks like they're even starting the idea of a team while they're walling in towards the town center. Walling this section. They have shared vision by default, as is the case for ranked and ranked team games. Has been for a while. It's been the standard. Not too long ago you needed a market to acquire shared vision for your team unless you had a Portuguese teammate. the old Portuguese team bonus, giving instant cartography, instant shared vision with your teammates. So a bit of a passive opening here. Their defensive tower on the forward that is for Hopsy wins. Seems to work against the scouts, but the archers coming just in time for Dega. Unfortunately, Hopsy wins is not going to be able to complete the walls in time on the side here. Does make it... Ooh. Actually managed to delay the archers a little bit here, and if he deletes that market foundation and places it a little bit further back, maybe too risky to do that. Does delay the archers though, and if Dega focuses this market foundation now and hopes he doesn't delete it in time, that's a lot of wood lost for the Incas. I think it's wrong to focus on the stone wall at... Wait, what am I even shooting at? just fire at the market. Brilliant move by Hopsy wins there, to be honest. It's delayed the aggression enough to send his own archers down and massively outnumbering the Mayans here, chasing away the early aggression of Dega. See what's happening top side here. It's just Gaia attacking lots of scouts, fighting for dominance here. The attack upgrade coming in for Redstone now, but Redstone is outnumbered by the Mayans now than the Magyars regardless, and it's a bit less in terms of HP here, trying to escape, trying to find the hill here, maybe to pull back to Godfather. Decides not to pursue without being joined by the archers here, and loses track of the green scouts for a little bit here. Not destroying that market was triggering, yeah. I can see that it was definitely the weakest spot, that market. Walls almost complete for Irion here, kept the worst aggression out, did lose one villager at some point. Let's get a farm count on the pockets here if anyone's closer than the other. Slightly more farms for Redstone could mean an earlier cast date for the Huns, earlier to the night's production perhaps. A faster production at that. The Huns. Great fight for the scouts here, cleaning up friendly swords, square armies, skirmishers and archers. Unfortunately dying here for the blue player. Produces more archers and tries to wall all the way to the edge here. But with the combination and scouts and archers over here, don't really see these walls as a lasting defense for friendlies forward here. It's going to be hard to re-wall behind, quick wall behind a decent group of archers as we have here. Redstone catching the archers off guard here. The scouts far away from Godfather, and Redstone is making the most of it, getting a great trade here now, keeping those archer numbers low, forcing Irion to replace archers before clicking to the cast stage here. You can see the resource to click cast stage is not far off for the red player, but losing most of the armies like this could mean that Irion's cast stage transition will be delayed. Good pickoffs by friendly sword here as well. Now almost fully walled. Defeats the house there and gonna wall all the way to the edge. Just a few pieces of wall and bowguards back in town are actually team walled here, so that's some good map reading from them here to see that as a viable opportunity. Opposite fighting in unfavorable numbers here. Dega should definitely push that. He's sure it'll be fighting uphill, but it's still It's just gonna come down to micromanagement, right? And Dega now takes the chance. Why did Hopsy give up that kill? It seems like a waste of units, but it's also pushing to this angle, so maybe something came in the way of things. Oh, look here. Once again, we have very evenly matched teams. These sound like that. Statistics looking good. Again, we have a lead entering the cast late for Tal, but military numbers still just marginally ahead for the Art of War. We're here, KD. So, not giving away the lead either way here for either team. So some great fights from both sides and consistent production behind it. Looks like we have a comfortable lead entering the cast late for the Magyar's pocket, though, and that could be an issue for Boyars back in town. Being set back in numbers a little bit, but with triple stables for the Huns and 20% faster production, they still might be able to almost keep up, especially if the Magyar's production isn't consistent with triple stables production here. What's happening topside? The Khmer player just kicked the cast stage, has the highest idle count center time of all. Still, despite that, not that many villagers behind. This could get rough for Hopsy, so this is a 2 vs 1 situation. We barely have knights for the Huns player. 14 knights for yellow, only 3 for green. Hopsy forced to relocate. Weak houses won't keep archers away, unfortunately. Hopsy just matches the crossbow numbers of Dega. Going to lose a lot of villagers here. No ballistics for Dega, those that helped Hopsy's case a little bit, but he has to fight a gigantic army combination here with this 2 vs 1 classic 3v3 scenario. One player getting hit by 2 other players. There are also green knights joining in here, but they're lacking the second attack upgrade. It's just about to kick in, so Magyars with an advantage again here. Evening out the fight, but not nearly enough. Opposite decent fight for in the top of all this, but still lost quite a few villagers here. And we have villagers being lost on the Khmer side as well, so it's snowballing out of control for Boyars back in town, unfortunately. Crossbow just kicked in for the Khmer, but the Ethiopians fire faster. They have slightly lower numbers, but they fire faster, and if they also have ballistics, something that Friendly Sword does not have, decides to take a choke point here. Could actually consider taking that fight and dance around a little bit and look for good trades, but here comes a second group of crossbows to join in, and suddenly the 2 players are matched in numbers. In fact, Irion has larger numbers. Ta, 20 military ahead now, significantly ahead in economy because of the successful raids on both flanks here now. Both pockets with 2 town centers, they are nearly tied in economy, but the Godfather seem to have a more consistent production of cavalry behind this. That could be the faster Hunt stables backfiring a little bit as well, because you will need a few more villagers on food and gold to keep up. Hiya, hiya! Who are you cheering for in those stuff? This should be a good fight for the Art of War again. More cavalry in front. Crossbow behind. GG is called. Godfather either misclicked or gets censored for no reason. The Art of War taking their first home map on Arabia, which should lead us to the Boyars back in town's home map again for the next one. Quick look at the stats before we hop into game number 4. Ethiopians with the economic lead here. That's a bit surprising. I guess I kept the home base safe from raids throughout the game. Up times quite similar in the feudal age timings here. All the idle towns at the time making a difference, but the castle age switch, especially between the pockets, that's a significant lead for the Magyars, resulting in more knights being produced earlier, and that's when it starts snowballing out of control because you have a stronger support unit in front of your archers and crossbows. It's never lost a villager. Generally, very few villagers lost by the Art of War this game. So that's Magyars, Ethiopians, Mayans. Winning that one, Mayans dominating the open land maps, of course. And Hops' team attempting the Khmer, Incas, and Huns combination here. Maybe the strongest combination from Arabia could be a throwaway map for Hops' team, as it's not their home map by any means. We are moving into land Nomad next, and as we know, anything can happen on Nomad start maps, so I'm looking forward to this one. Potential decider game. Game 4 between War and Boyars back in town. Here we go. Land Nomad. Boyars back in town's home map. We might just dive right into it and have a look at the civilizations here. Vietnamese for Hopsy wins, which means that once the opposing team has completed their town centers, Hopsy will know their locations, which is obviously useful for Nomad starts. And they already know one location as Irion has commenced his tease over here. So that's Vietnamese for Hopsy wins. Hindustanis for friendly sword. Great boom for the Hindustanis. Yes. Keeper villagers as we go through the ages. And Redstone with Italians, probably as a counter pick to good cavalry civilizations, as Italians could get Genoese crossbowmen out of the castles. And if you combine that with your bomber cannons as well, you have yourself a death ball with the Italians. Italians, more than decent cavalry as well. They get Hussar, they get fully upgraded Cavalier. Generally lots of options. Condottiero for any team member in the extension. So I'll look at this. And hello, Andy. Mongols for Arion. Generally speaking, a good civilization for most land maps, as they collect hunt 40% faster. Allows for super fast feudal age times. Arion, however, doesn't know yet that it's this close to friendly sword side. So this will be a battle for the northernmost territory, where all the other ones have settled in the south. Hopsy, far away to the right. That's a bit unfortunate for the Vietnamese, because Vietnamese aren't... Well, they have battle elephants, but they aren't famous for their mobility. They are more of an archer civilization than a slow-moving units combination. So we'll see Hopsy set up nicely for a free boom here for the early game. Could just wall off the section and get the corner on his own. Also, being the Vietnamese now knows the location of the opposing TCs. So this is where Hopsy and Redstone should be trying to push, and then just leave friendly Sword and Irion to each other up in the north. Vietnamese, Hindustanis, Italians. Then we mentioned Irion with the Mongols already going for the hunt, of course, boosting that early food income. And also discovering friendly swords town center. Actually, might even need to play the new house as friendly sword commits villagers to take out the already weakened house. That's a rough start for Irion, who risks or already probably gets quite housed here. Yeah, commits to loom because of the houseness, and is he struggling for wood for houses actually? No, it's not, but he's going to lose another house, and while this house completes, Irion is going to lose, is going to be... maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay. It's 2 houses, that's 15 population, I guess it's fine. Close call though. Had to commit to loom, but it's always handy when doing wars from far away anyway. And now we have the Goth's father finally going for the Goths. Such a powerful civilization if they are left alone and can get to the late game infantry spam with the nearly instant creation of units out of the barracks. No loom on the villager from the Goths, but doesn't really matter because Goths research loom instantly, so should you need it, they'll be able to get it here. And finally Slaven with the Berbers, another good land nomad civilization. Cheaper knights and camels in the castle and the imperial ages, 15 and 20% cheaper respectively. Cavalry archers, if you get your castles up, good mobile ranged units and a hard counter to Mangodai. Now that's on their own team, so that doesn't really matter, but and also to cavalry archers, probably the best cavalry archer counter in the game. Warriors back in town, they're off to a rough start here. Obsidians could be a late town center here, but also struggling for food income here. Idle town center times significantly higher for Warriors back in town, which would suggest that the DAW will be significantly earlier to the feudal ages as well. Maybe they're overwhelm their opponents with a mix of scouts and infantry or some such here. Maybe attempt just a straight fast castle for the Berbers as well, which will be even more powerful. This is actually a real easy wall off for the Berbers. Wall off this section and have the Godfather wall off this section if they have it scouted. And suddenly you could have the Berbers just casually move their way to the castle age unhindered and spew out their cheap cavalry for the mobility and the high damage output that it brings when the other players aren't even remotely close to that next stage. Upside, the wall off for Irion here. Better safe than sorry, as they say. And the house is provided kind of a wall in towards the TC as well. One villager of friendly sword trying to chase away one of Irion's villagers. That should be an easy win for friendly sword getting the first hit, but here comes another villager. And blue doesn't really have an escape here, so risks losing that villager. Didn't want yellow to get any vision on what's happening here, but yeah. So keep chasing that, that's worth it. If you get the kill, that's definitely worth it. Because neither of them are working, so. Barracks for Irion suggesting that the feudal age will bring in scouts here, after all. One tower close to the CC could be useful as well. It's only... Is that only one built on wood for friendly sword? That's 2 on wood.
Yes.
No barracks just yet. Not quite sure what the Hindustani's plan is here. Very few on wood for the blue player, but also didn't click up yet. Look at the progression here. 3 players clicked the feudal age. 1 player in the feudal age already for 12 before warriors have even clicked up here. Huge lead. And it's not the scouts, it's the archers, obviously. Fast archers from Irion. Well before friendly sword can get any defensive archers out, we'll have to rely on walls here to keep the aggression out. And if the archers find the exposed hunt over here, for example, that's a jackpot for these armies. Slaven should definitely commit for the straight-ish castle age here, and not go for the scouts at all. It's positioned very well for that kind of approach. Takes the hunt, has the resources to click up, as you can see, or barely so. So the blacksmith stable for Slaven, also acting like a pseudo wall against the woodlines here. These two buildings, so just a few tiles away from a full wall here. Godfather also going for a stable, which is more peculiar, but double scouts, why not? More mobility. They probably have some idea of the distance here, that the players are far away, so you'll need some mobility to potentially deal some damage. I like the archer's approach of Irion, but you obviously can't move right next to friendly swords TC, so you need to go the long way around. Villagers already moved further away for friendly sword, but with some scouting help from the teammates going for the scouts, you'd still be able to find lots of exposed villagers. And if the archers find their way over there, you can't small wall that out. Blacksmith market for the Italians as well, maybe unsurprisingly so, going to go for a castle and Genoese crossbowmen, as there's some heavy cavalry emphasis here from Tau, but they're lagging behind. Bograf's back in town, they are all in the feudal age now, but they're behind in population, and Slaven already halfway to the castle age will have lots of knights out before Redstone can even start thinking about the castle. This is a less even game than all the other ones we've had so far, just because of a significantly better start for TAW in terms of finding food and a good spot early on. There's not much Hopsy can do with the slow Vietnamese over to the other side, other than maybe going for some cavalry always on, but that's not ideal for the Vietnamese. Friendly Sword opting for the towers. A second tower here has the PC on stone, so that kind of makes sense. Should keep the archers further away from entering their side, of course. But now the archers looping around, gonna look for blood on the other side, gonna find the woodline, should be able to hit some of those. And as mentioned before, there's a huge amount of idle villagers over here that could be taken out as well. Lots of idle economy for friendly sport now, because at 25% working economy. Not a situation you want to find yourself in at this point. There we go. Doesn't bother committing to repairs on that tower. Keeps the archers to the side for now. Doesn't want to move too close to the TC. It's 3 towers very close to each other on the friendly sword side. I'm not sure how efficient that is in the grand scheme of things, but it certainly makes it impossible for archers to enter from this area for Arion. I think that's a misclick, because that's just not going to lead anywhere. Another defensive tower. Okay, so full on tower defense from friendly sword. Got the villagers working back on the top side as well. Scouts numbers for the Goths now 6 in the numbers, and a couple knights out for Slaven as well. Isn't really doing too much for the knights as of yet. Two players of Boyars in the castle age now, 2 town centers for Redstone, so 2 town centers for Hopsy. Again, establishing a potential economic lead as they get those town centers working. The Art of War, 2 players far away from taking to the castle age. Here they've committed 2 feudal age armies here. And so many defensive towers for friendly sword. Very, very compact base here, but keeps the gold safe, keeps the stone safe, keeps the wood safe. It might be just enough to eventually move up, but the food situation is looking rather rough for friendly sword here. It's not really going to be able to keep up villager production here unless Force drops some food over at this side, I think. So Archers doing some work as well, but they can't comfortably find underneath tower fire, at least not until they get the defense upgrade going here. Could still significantly delay this barracks, of course. Of course, the Italians castle, Redstone not taking any chances here, wants to secure the gold and the home base over here from the Knights moving into raid. There's another TC over here that's probably not scouted by the Art of War side yet either, so comfortably going to be running for the Italians. Scouting the map here, looking for damage. Finally found Hopsy Wind's side, who's been safely moving for a while now. Maybe the Knights need to move over here now. Looks like that might be Slavin's plan over here to punish the Vietnamese, not give them the free boom, but Hopsy reacting with small walls to make sure the Knights can't easily enter on this side. The Art of War, comfortable military lead now. Economic situation comparable, but they need to get to the castle as well, so in the meantime the multiple town centers producing for boyars should be giving them a comfortable villagers lead. Castle age for the Mongols as well, whereas Friendly Sword will be stuck in the village for just a little while longer. Does not have a market for what I can see to commit to or to trade resources for faster castle age click. So if Irion switches into a couple of siege weapons here now, already has the wood gold set up for archers anyway, so it's not that much of a switch to go into siege. Also defensive castle from home civilians as well. Will the Knights be able to break in here in time? They are at least going to pick up one villager here, most likely. The castle will complete though for home civilians, even with only 4 villagers building it. Good defensive castle, but now the Knights are in through the just completed gate here. Could be getting some villager kills here, getting some good raids in on Hopsywin's side. Evening out the villager count once again, gonna get at least a few pickups here at the risk of being walled out. Knights, but they're still fine. Town center completely covered, and plus 2 defensive for the Knights, so they are going to pick up all the villagers and not care too much about these fiery great raids on Hopsy's side. Hopsy down to 37 villagers again here now, and will need to replenish these numbers, and food situation not going to make that easy for Hopsy, for him at this point. Great raids. Good recognition from boyars back in town. Meanwhile, Irion has had enough stone to spare to get a castle up here that sort of manifests this position here, making it incredibly awkward for Friendly Sword to move out in any direction from here and further westward. It's moving villagers away, but the archers are here to chase the villagers as well. Could be some more villager kills for Irion here, trying to fight off the archers, but they have fletching. They have bodkin, in fact, these archers. So not only do they have more attack and range, they're just... the villagers should never be able to catch up with them. Right into manual production, so some mobility here now. Still needs to find these villagers over here, but there are some scouts out and about, aren't there still? No, the scouts are all down. 20 eco kills for Slade, so done some serious work here on Hopsy's side, keeping the village count low for the triple TC. Not so free boom anymore player. Well, probably gonna get a conversion there, but that's only one night and it's a weak one, so doesn't make that much of a difference. Italians, however, set up for the 3D boom situation now. He's going to some Genoese crossbows and getting some raids in on Slaven's side. Hard for Berbers to deal with this with anything else than siege weapons, but the Mangonel is getting some juicy hits in. And I suppose the Genoese crossbowman is less of a concern once the Godfather gets a castle up and gets some Huskarls out as well, and the Genoese are easily going to be caught up with the Huskarls with their high pierce armor and to focus them down. See the Castlage is in for friendly sword up north as well, going into the town center with the remaining stone and wood. Obviously not going to see any Imperial Age anytime soon here, however, the Hindustanis have the option of going for the siege elephants, which are slightly more mobile than the Rams, more points, attack faster. If you have 5 or 6 of them, they could take out the castle in the Castlage relatively easily. Good push from Irion though. Won't be able to push through in time to stop this TC from going up, and still defensive towers everywhere from the friendly sword, so admittedly doing a great job at keeping yellow busy here. Hopsy, I think that could get denied. It's not a lot of knights here, but if you focus the builder, this castle can't go up, right? If it goes up, that's horrible news for the Godfather. Godfather is also committing builders over there, going to try and fight off the builders building the castle, and knights will fight against the Rat Archers. So, ambitious castle for Hopsy wins. 8 builders forward, I don't think it's going to be enough this time around. It's a Mangonel as well. So even if Hopsy manages to small wall in the villagers, the Mangonel could deal with the rest of the Mangonel from the red player as well. Knights doing some epic work here to deny this castle at 70-something% here. Great defense from the Art of War now, placing that first Goth's castle to allow for Huskarls to be produced and deal with any remaining Genoese crossbowmen in the field. Italians, of course, extending the economy here as well, so still on the dangerous side. Hindustanis also, when up against the Goths, the Hindustanis get the unique technology, they get the hand cannoneers with 2 extra range, so that should be deadly against the Goths. Full infantry upgrades for both the Berbers and the Mongols as well, should you ever want to go into an infantry switch for whatever reason against the other side here. But that goes for the Italians as well, if you don't want to go into Volunteer, for example, against the Bossman, you could go for Italians champions. But then again, you have the... Why go for that when you have the Hindustanis extra range hand cannoneers? Need to think long term about these things. You know that the Goth spam might happen with the town centers going up here. In fact, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 town centers for the Goth player. We already have 3 for the Berbers. And actually 3 for the Mongols, no, for the Hindustanis as well. So warriors back in town. Extending their economies, but Hopsivins took a beating earlier on. It's nearly 100 villagers lead for Tau at this point. Successful conversion there, so value for the monk. But warriors lagging behind in both military and economy progress here. May have made a bit too many theses. Can never be too many theses, especially not on land nomad. It's a good way of claiming the map. But it does delay the Goths' progress towards the Imperial Age, that's for sure. See the resources here as you try to produce out of so many town centers. Barracks going up. Goths barracks already relatively fast with the team bonus of the Goths, giving them 20% faster working barracks. But when you get to the Imperial Age and get to the unique technology perfusion, you will get a 100% on top of that for nearly instant military creation. Looks like they have some communication issues. Military numbers evening out, 2 players going to the Imperial Age as well. That would be the Hindustanis and the Italians. Italians arguably fully boomed here, still committing to the Genoese crossbowmen. I'm worried about that, considering the Pascal production for the Goths out of the barracks now. I think they'll easily deal with the Genoese without Ta needed to think much more of it. Mangudai numbers increasing to more scary numbers as well. And triples the purpose production here. Just generally more consistent military production here from Ta.
Feeling bad.
Feeling bad.
Redstone, the Italian player, now in the Imperial Age. Also committing to some stables here now. Also trying to get some raids in, I bet, against the Mongol side first and foremost. They're sharing a little territory here. And yellow is nearly full walled up here, but has blue on one side and yellow on the other, so we'll need to react to anything that's coming his way from the Italians as well. Having a cavalry meat shield in front of the Genoese crossbowmen could also always be handy, of course. Last player of the Art of War approaching the Imperial Age now, the Verbus player heading towards the Imperial Age. Elite Magadai is in for the Mongols. We have 4, about to be 5,000 for the Mongols player as well. Slightly obstructed by Hindustani's Cavalier and Caval over here, but that's not going to be enough to deny this TC, I don't think. Is pushing on 24's side, so 24 not really able to answer fire as well as he'd like to, with 1 and only defensive cast here. There are 2 castles for the Mongols. The 4th trebuchet on the way as well. And once that castle goes down, I guess you need to deal with the towers as well with the Elite Mangodite and just be free to roam around them. Raid so much of the friendly sports economy, they may need to move away. But GG well played is called. Great set this one, but the Art of War draws the longest straw, as I guess the term is, and take the win against Bowyars back in town. GG well played. Maybe this one was a bit more on the uneven side, but the first 3 games were really even, and just small things setting the teams apart for sure. Look at the Goths military increase their elite Huskral going in an Imperial Age, and that might be what scared people away as well. I guess elite Huskrals raiding left and right. Genoese crossbowmen not have much to do against this massive elite Huskrals, and Hindustan is not in a position to supply the extra range hand cannoneers. So, indeed, GG well played. I suppose well drafted by Ta as well. 7 TC boom pays off, as we can see. Good boom for the Goths. Thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. Always nice to see the players showing up. Goths. Mongols and Berbers winning that one against Italians, Hindustanis, and Vietnamese. We'll make sure to note the winner here as well. And oh, nice to know you'll be back in October. I appreciate that. Will be quite some changes. Testing things out a bit, but I hope it will be good one. A good one. There we go. Ending in a 3-1 for the Art of Warfare. GG's. Well played.